Hey coaches, hope you guys are all doing well. This is Josh, and I just want to send you a quick update on our coaching form. And so, if you are a new coach, this will be very helpful for you. This is going to give you a breakdown on how the coaching form is outlined and how to use it whenever you coach somebody. If you are a veteran coach and you've used this form before, most of this will not be new information. However, there are a few tweaks that we want to let you know about so that you can be aware of them going forward. And so, I'm just going to walk through the coaching form real quick, and hopefully, this will clarify and crystallize how to use it and how it is outlined. To begin, as you can obviously see here on the form, you have your just identification of campus. Typically, this is going to be marked off by either Molly in Midland or Kara in Odessa, and the rest of this section will be filled up by them as well, namely the coaching, who the coach is, the participants' names, and then if there's any documents that are needed. For example, if they have not turned in a belief assessment or a background check or a My Story or those sort of things, we will indicate that so that you don't have to worry about it, and if there's nothing indicated, then you don't got to worry about collecting documents. Now, for those of you who are new, just word of advice. We have found it to be a best practice that whenever you begin coaching with somebody, you just set the form aside and you just begin to ask them about their story, their walk with Jesus, their experience and next steps, how they came to Stonegate, these sort of general questions that can lead you into coaching them effectively. The reason why is because we don't want this coaching time to feel like an interview or an interrogation, but rather a conversation that really helps them get better connected to Jesus and His church here at Stonegate. And so typically what we will do is we will have the full coaching session, the conversation, if you will, and then at the end, we will begin to check off some boxes and indicate the best coaching action steps for that person. And so we've tried to make this coaching form very user-friendly so that, one, you don't have to write a whole lot, which would take up an extra amount of time after you've listened to their story, but also so that some practical next steps after the coaching session can be clearly identified and marked off and even be used by you to help guide them in the coaching process once you've heard their story and identified kind of where they're at. And so a couple of these boxes to begin with are just their basic level or stage rather of spiritual growth, whether they are interested in Jesus, a disciple of Jesus, whatever they would self-identify in relation to the D model. And then we break it down into some specific action steps they can take in relation to connecting, for example, joining a campus group or an off-campus group, to growing, for example, salvation, baptism, these sort of things. And then finally, in relation to influence, like serving through Stonegate, serving the city at large, going on a mission trip, serving the world. We want to ask them these questions so that we can check off these boxes. Sometimes they will just offer or volunteer that information for us. Regardless, what will happen is once we have checked off these boxes and turned these forms in, Molly in Midland or Kara in Odessa will process these forms and then send these over to the relevant ministry areas that can follow up with these people and make sure they are actually getting connected, growing, or influencing as they so desire. Now, that is all pretty much normal information or old information for you veteran coaches. However, this little box right here is a new piece of information we want to focus on for a second just to let you know about it. We're going to use it this coming Sunday, which is going to be December, the December coaching session, and so we want to go ahead and let you know about this because we're going to use it going forward. If you notice, we used to have a diagram, a circle diagram actually, called Thriving, Reviving, or Surviving. And it was basically meant to just help us coach people better in terms of asking them how they felt right now in their walk with Jesus. Now, I think that is a question we should still ask them. In fact, we're still going to talk about it at the beginning of Next Steps 3. But in terms of a coaching point, we decided that it probably wasn't as effective as it could be in terms of coaching people to be on the document specifically. This is an easy conversation piece, but not something that was on the document or needed to be on the document. Instead, we began talking with some ministry areas, and one of the things that our ministry areas really, really would have appreciated is that in the past, whenever they received somebody's file and their belief assessment was like all over the place, a lot of those ministry areas didn't know if that person had still had questions, still had disagreements, or if everything had been covered. And so what we decided to do was go ahead and just make a box where we could clear up all that confusion. And so That's what this box is about. This box is for somebody who, whenever you get their information, you notice that they clearly have some disagreements or some questions about our core beliefs. For example, about the Bible or about heaven and hell and those sorts of things. And so the question is very simply, does the person you coached still have any questions or disagreements related to our core beliefs? If the answer is no, then that means that they had questions or disagreements, but next steps kind of cleared things up for them. If the answer is yes, then we want to go ahead and indicate which one of those beliefs they still have questions about. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3, but you want to go ahead and indicate what those beliefs are. So you don't have to go into great detail. You can just simply say, yes, still has questions about the Bible, or still has questions about Jesus, or still has questions about salvation, those sort of things. You can also indicate if they have questions about things that are not on the belief assessment. For example, has questions about Stonegate's position on women in ministry, or has questions about Stonegate's position on same-sex attraction or gay marriage, these sorts of things. And the reason why is because those sort of questions are important and we want to follow up with them. Now, of course, you can follow up with them if you'd like to, and of course we always encourage that, but if nothing else, this lets the ministry area know that when this person is coming over to them, they still have some questions or not, and that'll help them know whether or not they need to walk with that person or hold off on that person teaching or serving until those questions get cleared up. Now, of course, we do have one more box here that I skipped over on purpose, and it's simply a not applicable box. Namely, if the person that you coached is all 4s and 5s, then you're just going to click not applicable, because in their case they didn't have many questions or disagreements at all, and so this question would not apply to them. Really, when you get down to the bottom of the coaching form here, you have just some extra notes here, and then you have a section here for resources. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, PDP stands for Personal Discipleship Plan, and that is a walk through the book of Ephesians that we have over in the Next Steps 3 building that you can always use and grab whenever you're coaching somebody. And then, of course, as y'all know, being the nerd that I am, I make sure that we have lots of books, and so you can give those away like candy. Having said all that, I think that covers everything on the coaching form, and I hope, again, that clarifies and crystallizes both how it's outlined and how to use it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll catch you soon.